up-tempo, sequencing the offense to get them in their transition game, knocking down triples and straight line drives
against
to
the
rim.
Wings in a statement MVP performance. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Oh yes, Caitlin Clark heard them. She heard Candace Parker, she heard Aliyah Boston, she heard everybody talking. And she answered the only way Caitlin knows how, by putting on an absolute damn show. Against the Dallas Wings, Caitlin Clark took over when it mattered most. Paige Bueckers tried to turn this into a shootout, going shot for shot with Caitlin, but Paige started running out of gas in the fourth quarter. The shots weren't falling, and Caitlin saw the opening. She basically said, you know what? I'm going to do something you can't do. No-look passes, behind-the-back passes, absolute dime dropping to Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin Clark was controlling the entire game with her basketball IQ. And to everybody saying Caitlin Clark shouldn't be in the MVP conversation, something is seriously wrong with you. I don't give a damn what argument you want to make. If Caitlin Clark isn't highly mentioned in the MVP race after performances like this, then what the hell are we even talking about? I know Kelsey Mitchell has been scoring. I know A'ja Wilson is putting up ridiculous numbers. But what Caitlin Clark is doing on a basketball court is something we simply haven't seen before. Her vision, pace, passing, creativity, and ability to completely change the flow of a game are insane. And what's even crazier is that Stephanie White spent much of the first half taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. The offense wasn't flowing through Caitlin the way it should have. Instead, they kept reverting back to Kelsey Mitchell. But eventually, the ball had to get back into Caitlin's hands, and once it did, she started taking over. The Fever eventually defeated the Wings 98-87, nearly putting up 100 points. Let's look at the box score. Caitlin Clark finished with 29 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists. That's another double-double. And here's the part that blew my mind. Just 1 turnover. 1 damn turnover. Caitlin was creating offense, attacking the defense, knocking down shots, and setting up her teammates while barely giving the ball away. Aliyah Boston played 29 minutes and finished with 16 points and 10 rebounds, giving her another double-double. Kelsey Mitchell played 36 minutes and scored 23 points, but she struggled from the field, going 9 for 21 overall and just 1 for 7 from 3. 7 three-point attempts, and she simply couldn't get it going from deep. Caitlin herself went 2 for 8 from 3, but she still found other ways to dominate the game. Myisha Hines-Allen played 12 minutes and finished with 2 points. Monique Billings had 2 points in 14 minutes, but she grabbed 7 damn rebounds, so shout out to Mo Billings for doing the dirty work. Sophie Cunningham played 20 minutes, scoring 5 points, while shooting 2 for 5 from the field and 1 for 3 from downtown. And then there's Paige Bueckers. Paige finished with 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Paige played a hell of a game, no question about it, but Caitlin was the one who ultimately controlled the game when it mattered. That's what separates these performances. Caitlin Clark finished with 29 points and 10 assists in the Fever's 98-87 victory, and she now has 13 career games with 25-plus points, including 7 this season. Think about that. 7 games this season alone with at least 25 points. And somehow we're still having conversations about whether she belongs in the MVP race? Come on, man. Caitlin wasn't just scoring, she was manipulating the defense. She was creating opportunities that most players wouldn't even see. The no-look passes, the behind-the-back passes, the timing, the pace. This is elite basketball IQ. You could even see it on Caitlin's face. She knew exactly what she was doing. And Tyasha Harris, who had been struggling, finally started waking up during the game as well. Meanwhile, Caitlin kept doing what Caitlin does. She controlled the tempo, she created for Kelsey Mitchell, she found Aliyah Boston, she attacked when she needed to attack, and passed when the defense collapsed. That's why I keep saying Caitlin Clark is the truth. I don't give a damn what anybody says. When you finish with 29 points, 10 assists, and only 1 turnover in a 98-87 win, you're not just having a good game, you're making a statement. And if the MVP conversation doesn't have Caitlin Clark sitting right there near the top after performances like this, then somebody needs to explain exactly what the hell the criteria are, because Caitlin Clark just exploded all over the Wings, and she did it while making the game look completely effortless. And Caitlin won, and by the way, Caitlin Clark wasn't just slightly better than Paige Bueckers, she was better. And honestly, that's not even a knock on Paige. If the Dallas Wings had actually pulled out this game, I would probably put this at number 1 among the best games of Paige's career, because this was not an easy game. I don't care what anybody says about the Dallas Wings. Through 3 quarters, Caitlin Clark was basically the only player who showed up for the Indiana Fever. Simple as that. Nobody else was really making an impact, and Caitlin was carrying the team through an ugly battle. And then the 4th quarter happened. If you didn't see this game, let me put this into perspective. At halftime, the Fever were trailing 37-35. Then Indiana came out in the second half and exploded for 63 points. 63 damn points in the second half. And in the 4th quarter alone, they scored around 35 points. That's absolutely ridiculous. And Dallas wasn't just fouling them at the end of the game and giving away free throws. No. They legitimately scored 35 points in the 4th quarter. That's unheard of. Kelsey Mitchell also started coasting toward the end of the game. She finished with 23 points, but it wasn't exactly an incredibly impactful performance. She got her points, but Caitlin Clark was the one generating so much of the offense and creating opportunities for everybody else. And that's what frustrates me about Paige Bueckers. I've always said Paige has the ability to become one of the best guards of all time. She absolutely has that talent. But sometimes it feels like she simply doesn't play with that level of aggression consistently enough. And tonight, she showed flashes, but Caitlin won the battle. Aliyah Boston also finally stepped up in the 4th quarter after what was honestly a calamitous first 3 quarters from her. Caitlin herself wasn't perfect through the first 3 quarters either. She had a horrible stretch early in the game. But when the 4th quarter arrived, Caitlin Clark stepped up. And that's what superstars do. Sophie Cunningham was solid. She hit a big 3 early in the game and gave the Fever an important boost. But Tyasha Harris, oh my God. Tyasha Harris went 5 for 5 from 3. That's insane. Okay, one of those 3s came in garbage time at the end of the game, so I'll give you that one. It didn't really matter. But the other shots, they mattered. Tyasha hit a 3 when Indiana finally built a 5-point lead in the 4th quarter, putting the Fever in their first real position to create some breathing room. Then she hit another huge 3. Caitlin Clark had one big 3 earlier in the game, and then she came alive with 3 massive 3s that actually mattered when the game was on the line. She was brilliant. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant. But let's be real about what everybody wanted to see. This game started and ended with the matchup everybody had been waiting for, Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. And the winner of that matchup was Caitlin Clark. That's what people wanted to see, and Caitlin delivered. We're talking about a player putting together ridiculous scoring and playmaking numbers while controlling the game with her passing and basketball IQ. Caitlin Clark has been producing these 25-point, 10-assist performances at a ridiculous rate. She's putting up numbers that are historically rare in the WNBA. And whether people like it or not, Caitlin Clark is in the MVP conversation. She's in it. You don't get to erase her from the conversation just because somebody doesn't want to give her credit. And yes, Kelsey Mitchell basically slept-walked her way to 23 points. That's the thing with Kelsey. Her averages are going to be there because she's going to score. She's a scorer. She's going to find ways to put points on the board. But when you actually watch these games, it's difficult to argue that Caitlin Clark isn't the MVP of this Indiana Fever team. It really is. Because how many of Kelsey Mitchell's easy buckets are being generated by Caitlin? How many open looks are coming from Caitlin's ability to draw defenders, manipulate the defense, and create opportunities? The opposing teams know exactly who the main threat on the Fever is. They all know. They know Caitlin Clark is the engine. And that's why this performance against Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings matters so damn much. Caitlin didn't just win the game. She won the matchup everybody was waiting for, and she made another massive statement in the MVP race. Tell me what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.